The latest. Thank you for your love and support. I appreciate you all. Our all in all, the Savior, the Protector, the Unifier, the Messiah, the King of Kings. The most loved. Captain Ibrahim Traore survived another attempt on his life. There are people who still do not understand the reason to which Captain Ibrahim Traore rose to fight corruption, rose to fight for freedom, rose to defend the country. These people always are doing everything possible to make sure that all the good leaders that rise up in Africa, they silence them. We know what they did to all our freedom fighters and all the people that rose to make sure that Africa stand on its feet. This has been the tactics that people are using, and we have been the people that always help these people to champion the agenda. We saw what they did to Gaddafi. We saw what they did to John Magufuli recently. Whatsoever that they are getting out of Africa must continue. Africa must remain poor for them to become rich. And it is the African who is crying of poverty, who is crying of hardship, who is crying for the world to rise up and fight the injustice on their behalf are the same people who are doing everything possible to help those people that they are calling on to help them fight injustice, to do whatsoever that they want to do to the leaders who have sacrificed everything, including their lives, to give them what they are calling for centuries, and they are not getting. Because this world is never fair. Let nobody deceive us that there is fairness anywhere. There has never been fairness anywhere in this world. That is why they say the world is survivors of the fittest. If you are able to survive, you live. If you allow yourself, somebody will use 1 and make it 10 for you, or change 1 to become 9 for you. So you have to shine your eye. People are fighting Captain Ibrahim Traore day in, day out. Mali, Niger and Burkina Faso, simply because they have risen to say no to oppression, to defend the natural and the mineral resources, to say yes, we are capable of managing our own affairs. The narrative that you've put in our heads that we can never govern and manage our affairs, we can do it. And the moment we rise up to prove to these people that we can do it, then we know what they do to us. They even go openly to threaten these people.
In 2025, reports emerged that Ibrahim Traore, the president of Burkina Faso, survived an assassination attempt. This incident follows a series of previous attempts on his life since he assumed power in a coup in September 2022, according to various sources, including media reports and social media posts. The security situation in Burkina Faso has been volatile, with multiple coup and assassination attempts aimed at Traore's leadership. These attempts have been attributed to internal political dissent and external influences, with some reports suggesting connections to former regime elements or foreign entities. The ongoing crisis in Burkina Faso is characterized by political instability, exacerbated by jihadist insurgencies and internal military dissent. Traore's government has faced significant challenges in addressing these issues, with some sources indicating that his survival of assassination attempts underscores the precarious security landscape he navigates. The international community has expressed concern, with organizations like the African Union and the United Nations calling for dialogue to address the country's complex political and security challenges. The situation reflects the broader instability in the Sahel region, where Burkina Faso, along with Mali and Niger, has seen a rise in military-led governments and insurgent activities. Traore's leadership has been marked by efforts to assert national sovereignty, reduce Western influence, and seek new alliances, notably with Russia, which has added another layer to the geopolitical dynamics of the region. While specific details on the method of the assassination attempt in January 2025 are sparse Traore public reports, it's known that Traore survived the attempt without injury. This incident followed a pattern of threats against his life, with security measures around the president being significantly ramped up as a result of these constant threats. Social media and some news reports have cited this attempt as potentially the 18th since Traore took power in 2022. However, the exact number can vary as some sources might combine coup attempts with assassination attempts or count related incidents differently. Security measures and responses. Following this attempt, security around Traore was likely further intensified. Previous reports from 2024 indicate that after assassination attempts, Traore's security had already been significantly bolstered, including the arrest of several individuals linked to previous plots. This includes military personnel and civilians suspected of plotting against the government. Political and security context: the instability in Burkina Faso has been exacerbated by a jihadist insurgency, internal military dissent, and the broader geopolitical shifts in the Sahel region. Traore's administration has moved away from traditional Western allies, particularly France, and has sought closer ties with Russia, which has led to speculation about foreign involvement in these attempts. The government has accused various parties, including remnants of the previous regime and foreign-backed elements, of trying to destabilize the new leadership. Public and international reaction. On platforms like X, there is a range of reactions from support for Traore's nationalist policies to concerns about the country's stability and the safety of its leadership. Some posts suggest that these attempts are part of a broader strategy by external forces to influence or destabilize. Burkina Faso's government. October 2024. Attempt. This attempt was reported as the 18th since Traore took office, highlighting the ongoing threats to his leadership. The plot involved a bombing at the presidential residence in Ouagadougou. The attempt was thwarted by security forces' prompt response, preventing any harm to Traore, but potentially causing minor injuries or damages not specified in reports. This incident underscores the persistent security challenges within the country's capital and the constant threat against the president's life. January 2024. Attempt during Africa Cup of Nations. This plot was particularly audacious, aiming to exploit the distraction of a major international sports event. The conspiracy involved detonating a bomb at Traore's residence during the Africa Cup of Nations match, which could have not only targeted the president, but also caused a significant national and international incident due to its timing. Burkina Faso's intelligence services intercepted communications related to the plot, leading to arrests. The involvement of Damiba's uncle was noted, suggesting internal political feuds continuing from the previous coup dynamics. This event was significant for showing the lengths to which adversaries would go, leveraging national pride events for political violence. January 2024. Thwarted coup attempt. This incident was another in a series of coup attempts, but it specifically targeted Traore's life with an intended explosion at the presidential residence. The plot was intercepted before execution, thanks to intelligence gathered by Burkina Faso's security services. This attempt, like others, was not just about removing Traore from power, but potentially destabilizing the entire country by creating chaos. The connection to Damiba's family again points to a faction within the military, or political circles with lingering loyalty, or grievances from the previous regime changes. Security and political implications. These attempted coups and assassinations reflect deep political divisions and the challenges Traore faces in consolidating power amidst an insurgency. Economic issues and international relations shifts. His government has been vocal about rooting out corruption and external influences, which might have antagonized internal and external enemies. The repeated foiling of these plots shows a relatively effective, albeit stretched, security apparatus. However, it also highlights the continuous threat to stability and the personal safety of Traore, necessitating ongoing vigilance and international attention to Burkina Faso's situation. Another attempted coup has been prevented in Burkina Faso, in which an assassination attempt on Burkinabe leader Ibrahim Traore was thwarted. The Capt media outlet reported. According to the media source, the uncle of the former interim Burkinabe president, Lieutenant Colonel Paul-Henri Sandaogo Damiba, who himself had led a coup in 2022, was behind the assassination attempt. The plotters planned to stage an explosion inside the presidential residence, Capt said. In September, 4 military officers were detained in Burkina Faso on suspicion of organizing and taking part in an attempted coup. An assassination attempt targeting Burkina Faso's President Ibrahim Traore was thwarted, sending shockwaves across the nation and the international community. The plot involved plans to detonate an explosive device within the presidential residence. Reports indicate that the conspiracy was orchestrated by the uncle of former interim President Lieutenant Colonel Paul-Henri Sandaogo Damiba, who himself led a coup in 2022. The swift action of security forces prevented the attack, ensuring President Traore's safety. Also, in September 2021, a group of military officers led by Traore carried out a coup in Burkina Faso's capital, Ouagadougou, ousting Damiba as interim president of the landlocked West African country. The military officers who seized power also announced the dissolution of the government and the suspension of the constitution and all political activity. On October 2nd, Damiba, who himself came to power in January 2022 following a coup, signed a document tendering his voluntary resignation as president. On October 14, 2022, Burkina Faso's unicameral National Assembly voted unanimously to appoint Traore as interim president. This incident underscores the ongoing political instability in Burkina Faso, which has experienced multiple coup attempts in recent years. In response to previous unrest, President Traore's administration passed an amnesty law in December 2024, pardoning soldiers accused of a failed 2015 coup. Analysts have expressed concerns that such measures might embolden future coup attempts, given the nation's history of military interventions in politics. In late December, Burkina Faso passed a law granting amnesty to soldiers accused of a failed 2015 military coup against then-President Michel Kafando. The country's current military dictator, Ibrahim Traore, who is widely understood to be behind the amnesty, has himself faced several alleged coup attempts from within the military since he took power more than 2 years ago. According to state media, Beverly Ochieng with the Washington-based Center for Strategic and International Studies Africa program says the move could set a precedent for anyone wishing to oust Traore. It's true, Traore's decision is risky and it might set a double standard, especially considering the fact that he himself came to power through a military coup, said Ochieng. Even if it doesn't reduce the risk of further coup attempts or undermining of legal processes, he's still able to save face and then sustain a semblance of popularity and unity. But why has Traore made a move that could encourage further coup attempts? Political scientist Geoffroy Julien Coao suggests a strategic rationale behind the amnesty. He says the experience of the pardoned coup plotters could be an asset in the country's fight against militant groups linked to Islamic State and Al-Qaeda. He says their military and diplomatic expertise could be useful to the current government in their fight against terrorism. Personalities like General Gilbert, Diendere and Jibril Basole have great military and diplomatic experience that Ibrahim Traore wants to exploit. General Diendere was a prominent figure in the Burkinabe military, serving as the chief of staff of the armed forces. Basole, a former minister of foreign affairs, was also implicated in the coup attempt and was subsequently arrested and charged with treason. Ochieng suggests it could be a defensive move on the part of Traore. She says the previous coup attempts against Traore were likely due to tension with senior members of the military, which Traore is seeking to calm by releasing their allies. Burkina Faso is still politically fragile under Traore, she said. On the one hand, the numerous allegations of attempted coups against his government might be a means of playing up threats and also exerting more power. But they're also a reflection of sustained opposition towards his leadership. Burkina Faso has been battling a growing insurgency since 2015, with violence spreading across the country. The conflict has led to thousands of deaths, widespread displacement, and one of the world's worst humanitarian crises. Data from the Armed Conflict Location and Event Data Project show terrorist violence has only gotten worse during Traore's time in power. The government has reiterated its commitment to maintaining stability and addressing the security challenges posed by extremist groups in the region. The thwarted assassination attempt highlights the persistent threats faced by the leadership and the importance of vigilant security measures to safeguard the nation's progress. In June 2024, a rocket explosion near the presidential palace in Ouagadougou led to President Traore's temporary evacuation, highlighting the growing unrest within the armed forces. The government downplayed the incident, but it fueled speculations about the regime's stability. Captain Ibrahim Traore's regime faltering? Since the rocket explosion on Wednesday, June 12th, near the presidency located in downtown Ouagadougou, the capital of Burkina Faso, Rumors of growing dissent within the army against the transitional president have persisted. In recent days, the junta's communication teams have worked to downplay the June 12th explosion, immediately described as a simple shooting incident by national television on its Facebook page. The projectile unfortunately landed within the national television compound, causing 2 minor injuries quickly treated by the Presidential Health Service. The state media emphasized, while just a few meters away, Captain Traore was evacuated from the ongoing cabinet meeting held at the presidency. Following this, the Army Chief of Staff ordered a general alert of all detachments, according to an internal message leaked on social media. On May 17th, similar confusion reigned after an exchange of fire at the presidency, which state media also labeled as a shooting incident. Several security sources, however, mentioned a mutiny by soldiers. Once again, the authorities remained silent. For 48 hours, Captain Traore did not appear in public, fueling rumors about his possible evacuation from the capital following a coup attempt. One hypothesis was that he had taken refuge at Camp Lumbila, about 20 kilometers from Ouagadougou, where Russian Wagner paramilitaries had established themselves. 2 days later, he appeared calm and smiling in a video broadcast on national television on Friday, June 14th. The video showed the junta leader donating blood at what was presented as the presidential palace on the occasion of World Blood Donor Day.
And according to reports, these are linked to even as military men. We know what Henry, the ex-president, the one that Captain Ibrahim Traore took out of power, the same person who came into office and said that he is in office to help the people of Burkina Faso because the democratic elected president was not doing anything, was seen dining with the same oppressor that was destabilizing Niger, Mali, and Burkina. When it happened, Captain Ibrahim Traore decided that if you came into office for the liberation of the people and you are also doing the same exact thing that the politicians are doing, then you have to step aside for somebody to come. And these people are all part of the plot to overthrow Captain Ibrahim Traore. They are not even looking for him to be overthrown. They are trying to assassinate him. They want to unalive Captain Ibrahim Traore for doing everything possible to safeguard the people of Burkina Faso. If leaders are in Africa who think that they are for the people, why will you not allow yourself to be used to cause destabilization, to unalive your people? We saw the expose that came out of Burkina Faso and the things that this man, the ex-president Henry, did to his people. The only crime Captain Ibrahim Traore has ever committed is to stand up for his people, is to rise up and fight for the people of Burkina Faso. And this has been what we have been facing for centuries. Any leader that will rise up to fight for Africa, Yellow Popo finds every reason to do away with such a person, because these people, they see them to be hindrance. When they are in office, they don't get the liberty to take everything that they want to take out of the African continent. So such people must step aside for them to get people that do not know the reason to which they are living in the African continent and the reason to which they are leading people to have access to the things that these people are looking for. It's like the black person. The African is always thinking about, what will I do to police these yellow people? We have never thought about ourselves. And at the end of the day, we are the same people who will go and be sitting in a summit and be calling the world to call for justice for Africans and be calling for reparation, when we are the same people that have allowed ourselves to be used against ourselves. We saw that even ECOWAS rose up and was ready to go to war with Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, simple because they have decided to say no to oppression. Who has done this to the African? And you finish and go and be asking for reparation for what? Freedom for what? And who should even give you the freedom that you are asking for, when you yourself, you don't know what freedom is? And when the people who know freedom and what freedom is and they are fighting for freedom, you still rise up and you are willing to go to war with your brothers for saying no to oppression. Yet you are the same people who always sit there and complain about how these people are oppressing you. You know the root cause of African problem. but you are the leaders who have turned deaf ears to it. And the young ones are saying no to oppression. And if our forefathers have fought Lumumba, Sankara, Nkrumah, and the rest, sacrifice everything in their power to give us the freedom that we want, why don't we continue that legacy like the white people are doing? Their forefathers made sure they kept systems in place, and these people are doing everything possible to make sure that these systems that their forefathers created don't collapse. And what our forefathers have left for us, we've collapsed everything, and we are even fighting ourselves to make sure Yellow Pawpaw is always happy. That is how far the African has come. And we finish and we are crying, calling on the same person who is oppressing you to give you freedom. Are you ready for freedom? If you are willing for freedom and you know what freedom is, you will fight for it, because before we gain the independence, so-called independence that we have, blood was shed, lives were lost, people sacrificed their lives to get us what we have today. And God, to you, you love it so much that you will sacrifice everything of your people to make sure Yellow Pawpaw will always smile. But whatsoever that it might be, whatsoever plots that they will plan, no matter the craftiness of the plan against Captain Ibrahim Traore, nothing will happen. Because Captain Ibrahim Traore was chosen by the land. The land chose this young man, this vibrant man. The land chose him because you all have disappointed the land. And the land will have to prove to you that if you will never fight for it, it can have people to fight for it. And that is why everything you are doing concerning him has never succeeded, and it will never succeed, neither will it yield any results, because the land is protecting him. But all that we know is our ancestors are before Captain Ibrahim Traore. So let's keep supporting, uniting, and fighting for our heroes. Let's keep protecting them. And those of us with the mentality tagging them, calling them names, we have to disease, because we are still mentally colonized. If we truly know what emancipation is and we are emancipated, we will never point any bad finger or use any word by Yellow Pawpaw to describe our heroes, our kings, our saviors, and our protectors. United we stand, divided we fall, and united we keep standing forever and ever. The greatest enemy of the African is mental slavery. So let's decolonize ourselves from mental slavery. I love you, I cherish you, my family. So let's keep sharing and educate our brothers and sisters. Together we make Africa great for the next generations that are going to come. So that's the latest around the world, in Africa, West Africa, and in Burkina Faso.